This is the formula. You need to scale your clothing brand to your first $1 million. And I'm gonna walk you through it step by step. And yes, this can work for any clothing brand. This equation is called the COE, or clothing offer equation. I'm gonna break down each one of these, starting with the S. S equals style aspirations. The goal here is to increase the dream outcome, so customers associate this with your brand. You want to curate a strong visual identity using consistent on-brand imagery that resonates with your target audience desires, look, and lifestyle. I'm gonna jump into some specifics here because I think sometimes that can be a little confusing. But you want to basically develop lookbooks or example social media posts or short form video ads that inspire customers to see themselves in the outfits that you're talking about or in the actual settings. I like to use a tool like Foreplay to save content that is from my competitors. Now, for example, this particular Foreplay board, I'm saving content of anything that actually stands out or has a good hook, etc. But I'm really looking at what the competitors put out and using this as kind of the inspiration to come up with some different ideas, but I'm using that as the ideal lifestyle for this customer and then making that actually live. So pulling up Foreplay here, a couple of examples of creative content. People are younger, probably a little bit more urban lifestyle, showcasing a little bit more of a younger vibe, if you will. Let's see this one. Targeting women, kind of a laid back look. Again, going after like that younger millennial, Gen Z type of audience. And we'll continue to reference this here, for example, but we wanted to do a couple of things for this style aspirations. I want to highlight real life transformations, show before and after photos, styling photos. For example, someone in a generic outfit versus wearing your brand. I love the us versus them. I love the before and after. I want you to feature customer stories that illustrate how your clothing helped them feel more confident, more professional, or trendy. Again, the ones we just looked at are more of like what's on trend for that younger millennial, Gen Z. This is what's popping right now. For example, if you wanted something more professional, you could showcase that. Something that makes you feel more confident, you would want to showcase that in an actual video. Now, again, style aspiration is kind of this first part number here. Lifestyle content and social proof are great ways to do this. Collaborate with influencers, brand ambassadors who embody the style your audience craves. For example, I don't want you to use an ambassador who doesn't really actually like your content. I would also encourage user-generated content. I know in the beginning stages you may not be able to do this, which is why you should seed products. We call this the 10% rule. If you have 100 pieces that you're getting ready or that you have to sell, 10 of those, so the 10% rule, seed those to your ideal customer or somebody who represents that. For example, don't go and give this to somebody who has 1 million followers. You can. I would maybe give one of those, so 10% of the 10% to a major influencer. There's a chance they use it. But then for most of them, I'm actually just going to send this to people between the 5, 10, 20 to 100,000 followers who embody my actual audience, okay? If you're going after Gen Z, the last thing you want to do is send this to somebody who's a boomer. Not really the jargon term boomer, but literally a baby boomer should not be in this actual ad. That being said, honestly, that may be a great idea because it would catch people's attention to have somebody old wearing the product too. I don't know. Maybe it would stand out. But you want to have customers featuring, right? You want to feature customers in your apparel, reinforcing that aspirational tribe aspect. So the more people you can get in the UGC, the more that, or more people to wear your product, the more likely it is that it stands out, okay? So if you got 15, 20, 30 different people wearing your product, you also build trust. Again, so style, aspiration, talking about here, that is that S. One other thing though too with this ambassador funnel is it's very profitable. Our ambassador funnel is powerful because you get free content, UGC, you acquire the customer because we always want to make sure that they get a great deal, but I want to just acquire them as a customer too. And that person turns someone else into a potential customer as well. So it is and they get a percentage off, right? I think in this next year, we're going to see a lot more affiliate work being done. So it's going to be a win-win-win situation, right? You get UGC, they get products, and you acquire a customer, and they get paid when they tell somebody else. So technically, it's kind of like a win-win-win-win situation. This last part for the S is the brand story and value. If your style identity is tied to sustainability, minimalism, or maybe it's a streetwear culture, double down on that messaging. And if you've seen any of our previous videos, I'm a very big fan of like tripling down on this. For example, we want to go like 3 layers deep. So we have apparel, so there's layer 1, and then you have a specific niche that you could go after, for example, streetwear. And then an example that I use a lot, right? You could use something that's more of a Texas brand, or for example, a Christian clothing brand. That's gonna help you layer down and stand out, right? So you have apparel, you're a streetwear brand, you're Christian, and maybe example, another layer, you could be specifically, but you should always go about 3 layers deep. What people run into is they're like, I'm a apparel streetwear brand, and then they just stop it there, and I create my own cool designs. Like, well, that's no longer gonna work in 2025 and beyond. Let your story, let your brand story reflect the aspirational lifestyle, be it eco-conscious, the fashionista, the high-end athleisure, the trendy person. Let that be part of your story. Go layers deep, use that UGC, and then follow this formula here to look at the style aspirations. So that's number 1. So the most common thing I say to brand owners, and literally I say this every day, who just start out, they're at that 0 to 5K per month. It is the absolute hardest stage in business, and I hear you if you're in this stage right now. 5 to 10K, it's a little bit easier. 10 to 20K, a little bit easier. 20 to 100 is actually easier than getting to your first 5K. And some people, I would say most people, don't believe me. And hear me out here, okay? This will all make sense. 0 to 5K, you have nothing to build off of. You're just trying to guess and throw things against the wall. Hopefully this formula will give you the solution you need to make a ton of money, because if you increase the numbers up here and decrease the numbers here, you will grow a brand. But it's much easier to roll a snowball downhill. At 20K, you're just gonna do more of what already works. At 20K, you can scale to 100. But 0 to 5K, hardest stages for people to get into. They give up, they're not persistent, they don't have a quality product, they're not actually tested in the marketplace, they don't drive traffic, and they're sure as heck not looking at a formula like this. If you can build trust, and if you can showcase quality, which we'll talk about here in a second, then you have a chance to survive. What we do know is that I think it's like 5 out of 6 businesses are out after 10 years or something like that, but 80% of clothing brands don't last 2 years. I don't want you to be that statistic. I want to be talking to the 20% right now who found this channel. So let me show you and share with you guys exactly how to do that. But first, I want to say a quick hey, howdy, and hello. My name is Aaron. I'm one of the co-founders here at Bit Branding, and we specialize in helping clothing brands like you grow and scale online. I don't care if you're a boutique, a private label, streetwear, it doesn't matter. If you sell clothes, we help you. In the last 12 months alone, we've helped over 250 clothing brands. I help with the marketing, strategy, messaging, ad side of things. My business partner, Christian, he focuses on the Shopify apps, themes side of things. So we really try to couple the two of those together to help make sure that this is a complete channel for you to grow online. And if you have found any value at all in this video, please, I would really appreciate it if you gave us a nice little like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest content that we drop for you guys. At minimum 2 videos every single week, and we've been doing this for over 5 years straight. And if you do this, in the next 3 seconds, I will share with you my favorite TV network as a kid. I guess at this point it's Nickelodeon. We'll go with that. Okay, so number 2 here is our QF. So this is number 1, this is number 2. No, there's no, for those equation people here, I'm not doing it as squared, I'm just putting a number there. But so QF stands for confidence, quality, and fit. So what is the confidence level? That this has a high quality, that it's actually gonna fit me, okay? So we talk about the style aspiration. We're going after the ideal customer here, this Christian streetwear brand from Texas. Style aspiration, I'm a young Gen Z, or I'm a young millennial Gen Z audience, and I'm going after that style aspiration. But now, how can I be confident this quality and fit is going to be in place? The goal here is to convince buyers they'll truly get the result they want. Well-made clothes that fit perfectly. That's what I think almost everybody wants. You have to have detailed product descriptions. Okay, I always tell people our product descriptions, and we have a guide for this, but really it's use case scenarios and adjectives. So describe what it's like. I want you to use the height and weight, or if it matters for bust size, put that on there for the models that are wearing the products. Really good product descriptions, amazing sizing guides. You need that. You also need to break down the materials. If this is 100% organic cotton, please tell us that. If you are GOTS certified, tell us that. show us these badges, make sure that you're showing us charts, show us all of these types of things to help understand that this is what's going to happen here. I like the fit finders or quizzes to help customers pick the right size and cut. I also like stuff like, we've talked about them before, right? We talked with Joofy, basically a third-party sales mechanism or a sales tool to help people find the right size as well. Like, hey, I'm 5'7", I weigh 117 pounds, and I'm normally a medium, and these are my, this is my bust size, this whatever. And then have Joofy, who is a machine learning tool written with GPT or ChatGPT on the back side of it, recommend the right products for this person, okay? So you can help them, again, find the right quality and fit. You gotta have high quality photography. I always say front, back, detailed shot, lifestyle photo, and please, if you can, some kind of video. The more that we get into like live social selling, we're partners with Comment Sold, if you're not familiar with that, but we're Video, which is a Shopify app. Really, really freaking cool. But basically, if you can have something that describes it, for example, let's just imagine that this is it's a beautiful Christian streetwear shirt from Texas. I would talk about the quality of the material. I'd say this is 100% organic cotton. It's also pre-shrunk, so I don't have to worry about anything like that. The materials are great. It's very eco-friendly. It's very soft. Like, I could talk about the quality of the actual product. So use multiple angles. Like I said, I want those close-ups. I want the fabric textures, videos of the garment in motion so you can actually see that I can move around. I love a video of unboxing or trying on, clips that show how the pieces drape or maybe stretch, transparent reviews, testimonials, if you can add some UGC in there of some people talking about through the product, maybe the unbox and talk about the product. Encourage your customers to post feedback with pictures. Pin the most helpful reviews on there on your pages. Show star ratings or an aggregator review. We use Judge Me. Vitals, who we are partnered with, has a variation of this as well. There's also Looks, Loox, to build that trust. Have a guarantee for the products, right? Your good return policy. Offer that hassle-free returns, exchanges, consider fit guarantees. Example for this could be like, if the item doesn't fit, they can swap sizes, no extra cost. We'll take care of everything. These are all factors to the confidence and quality and fit. And if you're like, dang, that's a lot of freaking work. Well, yes, so is building a 7-figure clothing brand. It's a lot of work. And I think a lot of times, right, and I say this as a plug and play, and I'll say this to you guys now because we're a decent part in the video. I don't like to usually give out a shout out to make things easier for people who watch a couple of minutes. But for people like you, if you just comment the word clothing down below, I will give you this equation, this plug and play system here that you can use for yourself. And actually, what I'm working on with this is actually give like some numbers through it so that you can kind of gauge where you're actually at. But if you want to like actually increase sales, you just need to mention or do some of the things that I'm mentioning right now. It's really that simple. So we've covered the top part here: confidence, quality, fit. If you do well here, and the more that you can increase these, like the more that you can do these things, for example, if it's GOTS certified, if it's 100% organic cotton, if you have a great return policy, if you have great customer reviews, man, that's already going to put you in such a very good position. Let's get into the denominator. These are the things you don't want to have in place. These three down at the bottom are kind of added up. At this point, you have style, aspiration times confidence, quality, fit equals a bigger number. And then you have the WSFPS, right? Okay, so the W, what does that actually stand for? That is waiting time. Who does a very good job of this? Very simply, Amazon does, okay? And they've gotten us into this position where we do not like to wait. How do we change that waiting part of things? So goal here, minimize or clarify how long it's going to take for customers to receive or enjoy your actual product. A lot of our OSM members or the optimized store program that we have created, they're like, I don't want to do pre-sales because the customers are going to have to wait. It's like, that's fine, right? I mean, ultimately you want to get it to them faster, but that's why I always say here, clarify how long it will take. I will wait if it's a great product. I waited a long time for this really cool hoodie that Michael Jordan's trainer put out, and I paid more money for it, and it took like 3 or 4 weeks, but it was upfront, like this is gonna only print made to order, print on demand, made to order when they get enough orders submitted. And so I knew I was gonna wait, okay? I'm fine with that as long as you're telling me ahead of time. The next thing you can do though, right? Faster shipping options. You could ship everything out priority. You could ship everything out next day or second day. You could pack it same day, give them that. You should offer, no matter what, provide expedited or next day shipping as an option. You can also partner with local delivery services if it makes sense, if it's feasible. Sometimes I've seen a lot of boutiques are like, look, you can pick up in store, Okay, that's an option, but you may partner with somebody. I know I've seen it a lot lately. I don't know if it's possible for smaller brands, but you've seen DoorDash do a lot of stuff for Christmas. Like, all right, I'm going to deliver you this computer from Best Buy now. So maybe you could partner with somebody local who wants to get some business, and they're going to charge you $5 to deliver it. But your customers get things faster, and you say, hey, look, if you're in the Dallas area, we'll deliver it to you same day. You don't have to ship it, and then it's actually less. Maybe the $7 makes sense to hand deliver, and you got your own private person who's out delivering. I don't know. Could be an option. But give them transparent delivery estimates. Display clear arrival dates at your checkout. It's got to be very, very clear. Okay, Shopify does a great job of this, but send automated delivery updates. For example, this should already be set up no matter what. If you watch our channel, just make sure that you have watched the video on kind of the main emails that need to happen, right? But you need the order confirmation, the shipping notice, tracking links. I always like to use the Shop app so I know where everything's kind of happening. I can look at it inside of the store. So if you're not using Shopify, that's fine, but I do think it's better. And like I said, if you have an in-store or curbside, you can have them pick it up. If you have physical locations, shout out to you. Love combining online and offline together. And then what Target does really well is like, all right, I'm gonna order this online and then I can pick up same day or pick it up in a couple of hours. You should do that as well. It just gives a nice perception. Even if somebody just buys online, it's like, oh, pick up in an hour, right? We'll have this ready for you in an hour no matter what. This also adds that instant gratification for your local buyers, okay? So anything you can do to cut that part of it down, extremely, extremely important for that waiting period. And like I said, the main thing is just being transparent. Okay, so that is waiting. Next up is SF, shopping friction. Man, this is hard. This is the part where I think a lot of the sales stop. You got to reduce any type of hassle, any type of complexity or uncertainty during this purchase process. Streamline checkout, offer a guest checkout, no forced account creation. I do not like the forced account creation. Again, Shopify does a great job of this, but just guest checkout, please. Autofill or save payment details. For example, Shop Pay, Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal. All of those are way faster. I know for me, if I'm shopping my phone and they don't accept Apple Pay or they don't accept PayPal, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna do this or not. I was literally at the checkout screen for a product the other day and I was like, man, I really want this, but at the same time, I gotta get in the shower, I got other things to do, I'm not gonna run downstairs and grab my card. You may be like my wife who's memorized our card. I'm not one of those people, but some of you may have memorized them. But for me, I'm just like, look, Apple Pay's connected, just let me do it. And thank goodness there was PayPal connected. So I'm good with PayPal, but give them the option wherever they signed up to just do as few forms as possible, autofill these things, and make it very clear what's actually happening. I also want to make sure that you have a clear, intuitive website navigation. Okay, we've talked about this on a whole video. Christian breaks them down on the best themes, the best way to increase your conversion rate. But website navigation, organize your products, okay, very simply by category, style, collection, or season. And then maintain a search function. A lot of people have gotten rid of that. Please add the search function and the filtering based off of size, color, price, so the customers can quickly find what they want. The other piece to this though, responsive customer support. And then like I mentioned earlier, right, with Jufi, that's customer support. Honestly, it's a sales team, but also it can be that customer support part of it for you as well. There is a link down in the description down below. I forgot to mention that. If you don't have a ton of traffic, it's completely free. If you got some traffic, you can get like 30% off just using our link or just mentioning that you found us so you guys can get a good deal for them. But make sure that you got something in place there for your customer support, emails. Shout out to Plain Jane. They're a large like pajama company. I mostly get stuff for them around Christmas time, but their customer service is amazing and I'll buy from them forever and ever because I sent out an email and I got a response. It was like 30 minutes or an hour later. Help me with all the next steps. It'd be better if it was on the website, but also I got some messages on Instagram DMs. But just be responsive to those people for the customer support. And like I mentioned, right, respond and have multiple contact messages, right? So live chat, email, phone if you can, sure, but DMs for sure as well. Like, I mean, a lot of people show up on Instagram like, hey, this is an issue. You gotta be responsive on Instagram DMs. Offer quick, helpful responses to the sizing, styling questions, returns, exchanges. And again, Jufi you can program all those things to do it for you because it sounds like, man, that may be a lot. It is, but you got to have that. Supply a prepaid return label in the package or via email to remove any barriers. Clearly state your return policy time frame on the site. So many people run into issues with that. We were working with one boutique and the return policy was so unclear that it really hurt their numbers for a period of time. It's like a 1.1, 1.2% conversion rate. Changed return policy, we went to like a 1.4 just by changing that. We're like, okay, wow, that's a significant amount of money just from a small change right there. So you've got to cut down the shopping friction. It's one of the biggest reasons that people do not buy. Another area for shopping friction, speed of the site. You can use like a Google speed test for your site. You can use GT metrics, but find something to give yourself a grade on your site. It is not the end all be all, but it is a technical part of SEO or search engine optimization to actually rank higher, but also just a better customer experience. All right, so hold up just 1 second before we jump into this last one. I want to say that if you are a clothing brand owner, want to jump into the specifics of your clothing brand online, we have an option for you to schedule a free 45-minute strategy session. You can check out the link in the description down below. There are limited spots. Go do that. No matter where you're watching or what time of the year you are watching this, you can grow your brand, but you got to take the next steps, and we will see you on the other side. All right, and then the last piece here is PS, and the PS is not Photoshop, and it's not an end of an email. It is price sensitivity. So price sensitivity, goal here, lower the perceived sacrifice of buying or show why your price is actually justified. Again, if you got this up here and it is GOT certified, or you can add some value and you've made this section here so valuable, the perceived price sensitivity will actually go down because they can justify it a little bit. I like offering tiered pricing or payment plans if you need to, right? You could use Afterpay or Klarna or whatever. That helps lighten the load a little bit. Bundle items together, create a starter pack. I like to increase profit that way. Collection sets, add and mix and match options together. Add a discount if you can, or an offer, making each piece seem more affordable. Highlight the value of the longevity, so how many times this is gonna actually work. This is not clothing, but I did impulse buy something that's like a reusable paper towel, and they said it absorbs 20 times its size, and I was like, that's cool. And it replaces 17 rolls of paper towels. I was like, oh, it's like $6. I'm like, well, I'm gonna make my money back. So cool, the price sensitivity kind of went away. I'm like, oh, it's a no-brainer. Highlight the value, the longevity, promote the quality of your fabric, stitching, overall durability, the cost per wear. Messaging can help justify a higher price. Emphasize the brand exclusivity or limited runs to add perceived value as well. I'm a big fan of finding a winning product and keeping that in stock, but then I also do like doing certain runs and then getting rid of them so it seems like it is more exclusive or scarce. Promotions, loyalty programs, perks. Basically, if you continue to buy, you can get people to come back. Use limited time offers, so first time purchasers get maybe a discount or free shipping, which would help with the friction side of over here as well. Again, I like the loyalty points. I love early access to new collections, VIP processing, the free shipping threshold if it's over a certain amount to offset the shipping cost if you're not going to give that for free. Brand differentiation, so where your brand is versus others, that can all be done within the creative piece as well. If your brand aligns with social issues, sustainability, free trade, spotlight that, right? Just mention those things and that can help give some perception. Explain how your product outperforms the cheaper options in the market. Longer lasting, more stylish, ethically made, whatever it is, right? You need to know those pieces for your actual brand. Now that we have this formula, right, you can plug and play these different numbers, these different points, and all you need to do, right, is increase this number and decrease this number. Everything that I've mentioned here is something you can use, again, to plug and play throughout your brand to increase the value that you're going to share with the customer. It's extremely important that you do that. And one thing that I did not mention that makes this whole thing possible here is extremely important is you must have actual profit. So just as a really quick part of this equation, if you're doing print on demand, I know you're going to be about that 50% margin. To grow and scale a brand, you have to look at the lifetime value of a customer. So what is that customer actually worth to you? And that number needs to be higher than your actual cost to acquire them over, preferably a 30, 60, 90-day period. But if you can get profit on the front end, I would prefer you are closer to that 60 to 80% profit margin within that clothing space. If you can go higher, awesome. You may have price sensitivity, but as long as you increase these numbers here, the easier it is. If you are a higher price point item, let's say you're $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, you've really got to nail these here and decrease these there. If your price point is more of an impulse buy, still got to work on these, but not as much. So you want to use these levers and add leverage within your business. But 60 to 80%, have a great manufacturer. There's a lot of good ones out there, whether you're doing China or Pakistan, or there's a lot of actually really good ones in South America too, but have a good relationship with your manufacturer. If you don't have someone and you are stateside or in Canada or Mexico or something like that, have somebody stateside to help with these margins. If, let's say for example, you're that streetwear brand who's trying to scale and you've been scaling, but you don't have the infrastructure in place, get a 3PL or a third-party logistic company to help you scale, fix that W issue here. And if you are local and you have decided to go overseas to China for your manufacturing, that's also fine to keep those margins, but just have a backup locally. If you are looking for a 3PL or you need some higher profit margins in the business, or you're looking for somebody who is local, we do partner with a brand called Threadbird. They're in the link in the description down below. You can jump on a strategy call with them, see if it's a good fit, honestly, and find out what's best for your brand. But I always tell people, have somebody local. You really need that 60 to 80% margin. That's kind of that sweet spot for you to actually scale. So now that you know the formula right here to grow and scale your brand online, you've got to figure out a way to drive the traffic, to show people more of the value and show that leverage. So watch this video on how to run Facebook ads for your clothing brand right here next. All right, y'all, we'll see you next time. P.S. Make sure you subscribe.